Welcome to Align for Impact. I'm your host, Matthew Naylor. I started this podcast because healthcare and leadership both come down to the same thing, alignment. When people, purpose, and performance connect, real impact happens. On this show, we'll talk with entrepreneurs, brokers, and change makers who are challenging what is broken in healthcare and in business, and find new ways to make a difference for companies, communities, and the people they serve. Heather, my podcast is about alignment and it's about impact. And in alignment and impact mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Sure.
And, our conversation today obviously is about employer healthcare and the self-insured marketplace. But I love beginning conversations with just understanding who you are. Where'd you grow up? Where are you from? How did you get into the insurance business? Just like to learn a little bit more about you.
Sure. Where I live today is Reno, Nevada. I raised my family there. Have lived there most of my adult life. Prior to that, lived outside of the U.S. My dad was in the Air Force, so lived all over the world, which didn't feel great as a child, but now I feel it was amazing. It was amazing to see the entire country, the world, in different countries. So, how did I get into health insurance? No, well, I didn't plan on that. I stumbled into it. And throughout my entire career, I've done different things in healthcare or health insurance, from provider office billing to starting a medical credentialing company, to working in provider relations contracting. And then my last phase of my career outside of being a consultant, where I am today, was running the operations of a self-funded TPA program for a regional carrier in Reno.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is a TPA?
The third-party administrator.
Okay.
For the self-funded clients. So we manage all the claims. We did customer service. We did utilization review management, kind of the A to Z of the services. We own the network, so we had the network side of it. So it was pretty comprehensive as far as the TPA goes.
And how long were you there at the TPA for?
All in about 15 years. The TPA specifically about 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what made you transition out of the TPA business into retail consulting brokerage?
Sure. An opportunity presented itself, just like everything else. Like I've kind of walked through different doors that put me in the position where I'm at today. And I was approached to join the consulting side, and I was ready. A lot has happened, especially since COVID, right? And healthcare, health insurance. And I really just wanted to make an impact on the consulting side. And I thought my background related to the healthcare and health insurance programs that I had supported throughout my entire career would be a benefit for the employer groups.
And where did you first land when you came out of it? Which organization?
Assured Partners, which was recently acquired by Gallagher.
Okay. And so now you're with Gallagher.
Yes.
And you're in the Reno?
Yep, I'm in Reno. So I support primarily Nevada. So we have an office in Reno, office in Las Vegas, but I also can support groups and our other region offices. So I'm more of a strategic consultant, not a producer. So I'm not out there cold calling or selling. I'm really supporting the business coming in as it comes in the door. And then when it's in-house, then supporting them with strategy.
And are most of the clients self-insured?
No.
Level funded, captives, fully insured?
Nope. They're A to Z, different funding mechanisms. But I would say Nevada's fairly slow to change. And so primarily the groups that come in are fully insured. Part of that, I would say, is due to HPN, Health Plan of Nevada, which is owned by United. They in Las Vegas, they have a very large fully insured market that even giant casinos have fully insured programs with HPN, right? Yes. The largest school district in Nevada has HPN fully insured. It seems wild and crazy, right? So they have established contract types, more capitated arrangements where they can support at a more competitive rate. I think that's changing. I also think consultants are driving that too, right? If consultants are pushing out what's new in the market related to level funding or captives or even HRAs or medical reimbursement programs, things that we can partially self-fund onto a fully insured. The employer groups are just going to keep doing what they're doing.
And what's your typical customer look like? What's the size? What kind of industries? What are you typically dealing with?
Yeah, all types of industries. Nothing's off the limits there. I would say our typical size, I would say between 80 and 300 is really typical, especially in the Nevada market. Obviously, we support some larger groups. Some of those are based outside of Nevada. But yeah, we would call that mid-market. I know that's not necessarily mid-market, but that's what we would call that. But prime for doing some other stuff than fully insured, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably leads me to my next questions. We've had a relationship with Crumdale Specialty and you and your firm for quite some time. And, we've built and designed programs around level funded, self-funded, high performing captives and kind of a crawl, walk, run strategy for customers. What's your experience been like with Crumdale?
So let's start from how I met you all. It was with a broker record change with a group that was already with you. And quite frankly, when that happens, we get suspicious, right? Or we're curious. I guess I'll say we're curious why the group is in this program. And so we did a lot of due diligence. And I actually had previously met Ben at a different third-party administrator. And so I was able to call him and really talk through with him, what is this Crumdale, right? What is this program and how's it benefiting the group? And so I learned a lot from him. And after reviewing it, we thought, okay, well, this looks good. I felt like the program was working for the group really nicely. So we did a lot of investigation around that and analysis on their claims and, their admin costs, everything. So we stayed, and then we just became all in with Crumdale. We really looked closely at what you all were doing, and it was so impressive. And especially on the West Coast, and I think you'll say like you're slower to change out west, right? You guys started on the East Coast, and there was really nothing like Crumdale. And then when I learned that we could do carve out models, right? With your stop loss, with your PBM, all the creative things you're doing, the culture, the support, everything, like it was working, and it's working today. And now you've launched the captive, and we're even more impressed with that. So,
and you're on our captive advisory board.
Yes.
What has that felt like? What does it look like? How has that experience been for you?
It's been great. So we've been able to kind of work alongside Tanya and your team as you've built out this captive and really understand the reasons why, you're making decisions around the captive, the investment you're making in the captive. And it's pretty impressive. And your team is so tight, it's a tight knit team, and you can tell. And even at this conference today, I have a client here, and she said, what I'm most impressed about is the culture. And I can tell everybody here is working together. They're in sync. They're working together. This makes sense. And guess what? That's what that employer does in their business. And so they care about that partnership, right? And that's, I think, from a consultant perspective, that's what we care about too. I don't just want a partner or vendor that is calling on us once a month, like, hey, do you have any quotes for us or whatever? We want to be part of this. We want to be part of the change that you've been making.
Yeah, and I think relationships matter.
Yeah.
Partnerships matter. We at Crumdale take them very seriously. This whole podcast is about alignment and impact. And it starts with proper alignment with the broker.
Yep.
And proper focus on proper impact with a customer.
Yep.
Not everybody looks at the world the same way. That's okay. What's your experience been like around alignment and relationship? Because no one's perfect.
Yeah.
There are always issues, problems, and challenges.
Yeah.
Healthcare is a complicated thing to deliver. How, your own words, your experience with Crumdale, partnership and relationship?
Yeah, we don't expect perfect. We're not perfect. Our groups aren't perfect. We do not expect that. What we expect is a relationship where we can share our ideas, our thoughts, maybe our complaints, maybe our criticism, our feedback, and feel heard. And I would tell you from the bottom to the top to the bottom, we are heard. And if things can't happen at one level and it's really important to us, then it moves into another area of Crumdale. And I don't feel like you guys have ever really said no. Obviously, you can say like, that's not going to work and here's why, or that, there's reasons why we can't do this, or here's the method to our madness kind of thing. But no, it's truly been a partnership. And I think that's why we lean into Crumdale for integrated level funding. We haven't talked about your advocacy. That's one of my favorite parts about that program. And we lean in when we want to carve out. I've been so impressed with underwriting, the consistency of underwriting with your stop loss programs, and then the way you have designed and set up your pharmacy and the advocacy in the middle. We have a Crumdale partner kind of layered onto the pharmacy benefit management program. Phenomenal. That person is available the second I call.
It's, for me, Heather, hearing all this is really quite special.
Yeah.
Because as the
it's the truth. I want to tell you, I'm not just saying because I'm sitting here
as the
with
leader
you,
and as
yeah.
the entrepreneur and as the founder of the company, you aspire to set different standards, reimagine how things could be done and should be done. And, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. The big moat around our business is our people, which is what you've been talking about.
100%.
In our culture. How important, I would assume brokers like you and others get inundated with all kinds of point solutions, all kinds of new products and services and vendors. How has Crumdale made it better or easier for you, like more turnkey when it comes to having flexibility, but bringing stuff to you and your clients that makes it easy for you to implement and your customers to understand?
I love that you use the word alignment, because that's truly what it is. Like, and it works both sides. I think I try to communicate as well as I can what our needs are, and you all get it, right? I'm not talking to a national carrier that has these stipulations and that, and all the things, and there's just no wiggle room at all. You all are designed to work with the consultants and their groups to provide solutions that have not been available out in the marketplace. And it's funny because I think, oh gosh, am I too all in with Crumdale? Do I focus too much on your solutions and not looking around anywhere else? And so we do. We look at a wide spread, but we typically come back. And the other part of that, and the reason why we come back, so it's 3-4 renewal cycles now at least that we've been placing business with Crumdale and been in partnership with Crumdale. The renewals, the work you said you'll do, it's consistent. And
how important is that to you and your firm when you think about the data, the transparency, the level of consistency and how we report? How critical is that to your success as a broker?
It's number one, because we're agnostic, right? We don't favor or we're not getting paid more by someone, we're not like driving to place solutions with our clients on a bribe, nothing like that, right? We're like, we have to find the solutions, and we have to speak for you on your behalf. I mean, a lot of times you present with us, but we have to speak on what you're saying you'll provide. And then we have to know that that's actually going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, we lose credibility. And that leaves the door open for another consult to come in to say, oh, looks like you picked the wrong partner, sort of thing. So it's everything.
Yeah. So four renewal cycles.
Yeah.
Lots of consistency. People talk about ROI.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people show up, point solution vendors, insurance carriers, overpromise, underdeliver, and never report on anything.
Yep.
How has your experience with Crumdale been on us saying what we're going to do, standing behind exactly what we say we're going to do, and then delivering it in real ROI?
Yeah, you haven't missed the mark yet, honestly. So it's the truth. I have not delivered a difficult renewal yet. And we do a lot of stop loss business together. We do integrated the level funded program together. And yeah, it's predictable. We feel comfortable. Your stewardship report's phenomenal.
Yeah, and our stewardship report is, the journey. We love capturing where a client was before they came to us in partnership with a broker. And then we love capturing the observations and recommendations that we came up with together with the broker. And then we love capturing that data to say, hey, we said we were going to do certain things.
Yeah.
Now let's report on that in a transparent way to say that, we either made it or missed it.
Right.
And here are some additional observations. How impactful are those stewardship reporting for you as a consultant and broker? How empowering is that when you get in front of one of your clients?
I love it because normally I'm doing all the legwork on that, right? Or my team and I are doing all the legwork on that. So we're building it. We're having to analyze it. We're having to summarize it and figure out, what's next. And for you all to put that in front of us in a beautiful package and then help present it to the group. I mean, it takes all the guesswork out of everything. Great.
What are you most excited about when you think about employer health? Like where the market was, where the market is, and where it's going? What do you see evolving?
So it's interesting. This year, I think across the nation, but I'll just speak about Nevada because that's really what I'm most familiar with. We saw accelerated fully insured renewals, like 20, 30, 60% renewals. Employer groups cannot sustain that. They need another solution. So I think that starts the work you're doing starts. You're starting to build that, and you're able to build the confidence with the consultant and with the group. And so, I think AI, more data, transparency. I think there's going to be a lot more work that you all will do and the pharmacy benefit managers will do. I was talking to Dr. Eric Emerson yesterday, and I said, we need solutions. I have never seen the prices, the cost, not just the pricing, but the total cost of specialty pharmacy or pharmacy in general as high as it is today. It makes me so nervous because if we don't have solutions for it, where are we going to go? Where are the groups going to go? And I want them to have other solutions. We have to have a competitive market. And with just the national carriers, we won't have that.
Have any of your groups at Gallagher transitioned from our level funded solution into our high performing captive?
Not the high performing, and I'll tell you the reason why so far. So we have groups in your open captive.
Okay.
The reason why the high performing is a little bit challenging for us is the network access.
Got it.
Nevada, again, more Las Vegas than Northern Nevada. So more Southern Nevada is a united market. That is the most competitive network down there. They also kind of have the control on the primary care. So it's a lot of disruption. So for us to start moving into the high performance captive, we'll need to work together on disruption solutions and or kind of the crawl, walk, run out of the
network.
Yes.
And so on that open captive in your marketplace with Gallagher, is it we're helping design the plan document, we're helping provide PBM services around specialty drugs, and then we're doing the captive risk financing program, but United is the administrator or
So I have two things going on. One is a United group.
Mm-hmm.
They already adopted your stop loss. They already adopted your pharmacy benefit programs because we're able to carve that.
Yep.
So we have that going for us,
That's
which
great.
is great.
Yep.
Great. The other group, it's their going into their second year being self-funded. So they're brand new. And we did a transition with Anthem. And so crawl, walk, run. Less disruption for the employees. We left them with Anthem. So first year into the captive, they'll be Anthem, and then we'll see how next year looks.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And the high performing captive, that we've built at Crumdale, I think is really super unique and special because it's totally vertically integrated.
Yep.
It's totally optimized.
Yep.
you're not picking a TPA, a PBM, case management, pre-cert, disease management. It's just turnkey.
It's a plug and play, but it's very okay. Here's what I'll say. There are other captives out there that seem to have a similar option. What I'll say is yours has much more oversight management.
Mhm.
I know that because we work with you on the integrated side. So I already have a taste for what that looks like on the high performance side of the captive.
Yeah, so much more integration around cost containment.
Yeah, you're like actually driving solutions around cost containment, not saying we have solutions.
Yeah.
And then picking and choosing those, if that makes sense.
What's the biggest challenge for you as a consultant, in this market today? Like what keeps you up at night? What are you worried about? And what are you looking for in a real partnership?
So for sure, the burden of cost. I mean, even just talking to Dr. Emerson, like it really does keep me up at night because I understand what the employer groups themselves are going through related to budgeting and financing their employee benefit program. And I know they want to give their employees the best. They really do. Passing cost on to employees, that's not changing anything. That's just moving it, right? And what we need are solutions to make real solid changes to, I don't know if lowering costs, but shifting costs, but away from the employer and employee, right? And so I think that burden keeps me up at night. The other challenge, I think, and I talked about this yesterday on your panel at the Captive Conference, is employer groups are busy. They're busy running their business. And sometimes we can bring the most beautiful strategy to them, and they have not allotted for enough time to adopt a new strategy. And so they sometimes push an easy button, but that sets them back. What they're not seeing is that could potentially set them back from movement into, a more optimized program. And I just think every year you're taking an increase, that just gets compounded the next year because the inflation of healthcare, as we all know, is just going up exponentially, especially in the pharmacy. So I think important for partnership is that you can move with us, right? Or even pull us, be ahead of what we're even thinking and be flexible and nimble.
What questions, Heather, did I not ask you that you wanted me to ask you? One of the things I was going to ask, but I didn't ask.
Ask me anything.
Well, it's what I think is such a great testament to our relationship. I'm a real big. When I started my podcast, and the team and I worked really hard on thinking through it. Alignment and impact is really at the center of everything I do.
Yeah.
And what I think is so cool about our relationship is your daughter works for our company.
Yeah.
And it's a real testament to how I think you feel about our partnership.
Yeah.
But I think your daughter's also, I don't know this like directly because obviously as the CEO and founder, I'm working on other things. But, every time I interact with your daughter, I did this morning, it's an emotional intelligence thing. I can look at someone and I can look in their eyes and almost see into their soul a little bit. And I could see how happy she was and how excited she is about, what she's doing on her journey. And I just think it's really cool that, not only are you working with us as a partner, but your daughter's working for our company. How special has that been for you to see your daughter grow?
It's been cool in a lot of different ways. So first and foremost, when she first started at Crumdale, I'm probably a couple weeks in. And by the way, you have a phenomenal training mentorship program, right? And I've seen that, which is really, really important to me as her mom, because especially as raising a strong woman, which we all know she's a strong woman and very opinionated, but also I think emotionally intelligent. She called and she said, "Mom, is this what you've done my whole life? Is this the work you've been doing?" She had no idea. She was busy being a kid, right? Busy, cheerleading or whatever that is. And so, one, it was great to kind of get recognized by her that I've done some cool things and with a purpose, because what's important to her is to do something with purpose. And she does feel like she can really change lives in this industry. But I don't think she could do that anywhere. And the fact that she's able to do it at Crumdale is really, really special. And your culture is not perfect, but it's amazing, right? It aligns with, I think, her own personality. It aligns with kind of that moral, ethical, I don't know if that's the age group or whatever. Like, I was just happy to have a job at her age. She's like, no, I need the right job.
Yeah, I think it's funny when we interview people. Part of my interview process is telling people why they may not want to come work at Crumdale.
Right.
Versus, because look, Crumdale isn't for everybody.
Right.
We really believe in working hard. We believe in doing the right thing.
Yeah.
We believe in treating people the right way.
Yeah.
And we don't hide in the shadows.
Right.
Like when things aren't good or not going well.
Yeah.
And, we step up and accept our responsibility. And it's not for the faint of heart. We have high expectations. We have high standards.
Yep.
You talk about being honest and ethical and professional. We're in an industry where those words are used, but actually not followed through with a lot. And so it isn't for everybody. And we also are very entrepreneurial. It's a very fast-paced, very dynamic organization that is intentionally being very disruptive.
Yeah.
And where people want to push the easy button and come and go. That's not what Crumdale's about. So it's cool to hear the things that your daughter likes and also the things that sometimes can be challenging for somebody.
Yeah, but that's okay. You grow from that, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think we raised a great young woman who's making her way. And
the young woman part touches my heart too. So I'm the father of 5.
Right.
I have 3 amazing girls. And I've been in the insurance business now for 30 years. And, I say this kind of in a serious way. The insurance industry has been a little misogynistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's been dominated by a lot of,
I would agree,
men.
Yeah.
And, not to profile, but, it's not very diversified.
Right.
And women, haven't really been given the same opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried to, as a leader, to really be a real ambassador and advocate for giving all people, but women, like, I love seeing your daughter have an opportunity to like thrive and grow in a business that's not necessarily set up for that. It's, I got into the business in the 90s and back, I don't want to, it's a wonderful business, but it's kind of like the good old boys club.
Yep.
And it's, had to be tough for you, in your career.
Yep.
But I've tried to create a space at Crumdale to make it really special and easy for people like your daughter.
Yeah.
That not only have the same opportunity, but even maybe potentially a better opportunity.
For sure.
So that they can really, have a positive impact. It's an interesting perspective when you think about our space in our industry. Did that ever affect you in your career?
I think in my age group, if a woman says it didn't, I think they're probably telling themselves a story. I think in most industries, I think we're probably pretty close to the same age.
Yep.
I think, I definitely felt that. But you know what? I think it made me stronger for sure. Made me try harder, maybe. So I don't know. It is what it is. And what I can say is I appreciate your leadership and your other leaders for building that culture, for her. And I think, after she kind of got, some good understanding and experience about what you all were really doing and the impact it could make on the industry and for our employer groups, we asked that she be our rep, which I think says a lot because, moms and daughters, that's a fun relationship. But I would tell you, she works so hard for us and she doesn't take me being her mom and how I feel about, your program and your products. She doesn't take that lightly. She takes it very seriously. And I would assume probably works even a little bit harder to earn business and make sure she's everyone takes her serious.
Yeah,
right?
well, I'm sure mom's got some certain standards that,
Maybe
she has to live up to.
Yeah.
I've loved our relationship because, Heather, I do think, I admire grit. I admire perseverance and determination. And, healthcare and consulting specifically isn't for the faint of heart. You get told no a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a very difficult job. And for you to, persevere and get to where you are in your stage of your career at your level, has to be super rewarding for you personally.
Yeah. And I would tell you, there's a man that's now a very, very good friend of mine that was a huge mentor for me. And he really opened some doors for me and taught me a lot. And again, back to that leadership thing, I think one is, showing him that I initiating, that I wanted to be at a certain place in my life and do certain things. And him mentoring me was a big deal and really helped me in my career.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed our conversation
me too.
immensely.
This was fun.
Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Of course.
This is Matthew Naylor. You've been listening to Aligned for Impact.